Hey guys, Mr. Riz to help you out in the fourth part of the 215 activity, and this is to improve our RSA decrypt file. So if you remember here, our RSA encrypt file, we check to see if the key is a digit. That way it can go through, and if somebody types in a non-digit, it just tells them an error. It doesn't just shut down the whole program. All right, what we want to do too is actually two parts in there. First thing we want to do is to fix our RSA decrypt. We want to make sure our RSA decrypt works just as well as our RSA encrypt. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to Control A, Control C. I'm going to make sure my RSA encrypt file is perfect now. Okay, so our RSA decrypt file here. If we look here, we're using the same two things, right? For the key value and the mod value. So we want to make sure that those things are entered in. And so since they are the same variables, we could just copy our key code and our mod value code and replace it here. All right, so now if I run RSA decrypt, which I'm going to go Control C, go to our main. If I try to decrypt something that it has an alphabet letter in it, it says there's an error, or it says please enter a digit, and just repeats. Okay, here's the next thing we want to do here is our RSA encrypt is to kind of fix the error with this plain text. If somebody types in, or let's try to be specific and say, like right now, the user can type in anything, right? We want to go through now and just make sure that the user can only type in a string that has, let's see, what does it say? We just want to have, I want to make sure, an integer only input. So we want to make sure that whenever the person types in for the plain text, that is only integers. Every single one of those is an integer. Okay, so what we want to do here is we can use like the couple different things. We can check for is digit, or there's also a is alpha. So we can check to see if the is alpha is false, or we can check for the is digit is true. So we want to make sure when they type in an encryption key and a modulus, that when they type in their next thing, that everything in there is just digits. Every single one of those is just an integer. All right, we want to make sure that there's no commas, there's no spaces or anything like that. Or is that going to be okay? Let's see. Just like that, you should validate an integer only input. Let's challenge ourselves. Let's try to make this like have spaces and commas as well, so they can type in those. Okay, so let's work with the plain text. Let's falsify plain text to just actually, and there's one way that we can do make plain text false. Or actually, no, we don't want to make plain text false. What we're going to do is we're going to have like a check to see. So let's call this valid text. We're going to make that equal to false. Okay, so we're going to have the valid text say that is false. So we're going to say it's false. And so we'll say while valid text is equal to false or does not equal true, we're going to do some things here. We're going to ask the person to type in an input, right? Then what we need to do is go through every single spot to see if like they put in either an integer or they put in a comma or they put in a space. So for every C or every, let's say, number in plain text, we'll make a for loop to go through here to see like if that number is a digit. Actually, you know what we need to do here is like normally we'd say like if it is a digit, then we'd say, okay, valid text is true, or we want to see like if it ever breaks out to make it false. So we need to, after we go through, we're going to just assume that the valid text is true. We're going to make it true. Now, even though it's made true here, this does not end the while loop. The while loop's still going to go through and complete all these steps here. So if the number is, or number dot is alpha, we'll say this is alpha. If the number is an alpha, then we're going to make the valid text to equal false. Yeah. So if we ever have an alphabet in there, now we also want to make sure that there's only spaces and no other characters, right? So let's see, would we want that to be a true or an or? Let's see. Let's try to check something. Or number is equal to space, or number is equal to a comma. All right, so we're going to have to do a lot of tests here. So basically we want to see like if we ever have a alphabet, or actually we want the knots to go through here. Oh, I forgot, we didn't even make a conditional statement. If number equals alpha equals true, so if we ever have a letter, it will make this go to false, or ooh, I guess maybe this shouldn't be an or, this should be a maybe an and. All right, we'll test this out. Let's see how this runs. So an encryption key, they're going to type in number. I'm going to type in just another series of numbers. This should be true. It should work out. Oh, what happened here? Is this running the decrypt or encrypt? Oh, that's running the Control A, Control C. That's not what's in my main PY file. Okay, encryption here, modulus, just type in the numbers here. Okay, it worked with just numbers. Okay, now let's mess this up. Let's put an alphabet in here. Encryption key, numbers, and then I'm going to type in a phrase. What's up? All right, so it goes back. So if we type in something, all right, now let me type in some numbers and then put a letter. Still not working. Okay, what if I type in a number and a space and then a number? All right, so there's an error there. So we don't want it to turn false there. Now, is it turning false because we just have a space? So let me just put a space here, press enter. So space is not working. So what we want to do here, see, so if our number is an alpha, we're going to make this true, or let's see. Well, let's get rid of, what if we just get rid of this? Will it work? Okay, we'll run this here. Encryption key, type in a number, type in a number, type in a number. That's fine, it works. Encryption key, just testing out a lot of different things here. Type in a word, doesn't work. Type in number with the letter, doesn't work. All right, let's do type in number space, type in a number. That worked. Okay, so we know the space works. All right, type in number, type in number. What if I type in like 12,000 with a comma, 345? All right, that worked with the comma. I guess the one thing we want to watch out for, though, this does include not just commas and spaces, but any symbol, I think. Put some of these weird ones up here. So those are not alphabet letters, and it still works. So we only want the comma and the space to work. So maybe we can nest in another condition here, or put another and statement. So let's see. So if it is a letter, it's true thing, or maybe we can make a comma here, or the number does not equal does not equal a space, or number, oh, way to spell number right, does not equal a comma. We'll close that. Okay, so let's run this here, make sure number works. Ooh, it doesn't like that. All right, so if it is an alpha, true, or so what happens here? Oh, it doesn't. Well, let's make sure, maybe we can nest a condition here. So maybe we can do like an elif. Yeah. So I'm going to go kind of cut this paste out here. Elif. Ooh, Control Z, Control Z. I pasted too much. Cut. There we go. All right, so now we can put an elif here. Elif. All right, we'd have to try to see if number dot is digit equals true, or number equals a comma, or no. Oh wait, we want to see if this is false. Okay, false. Okay, so here's what we'll do next too, and we'll do, oops, forgot the colon here. And this should work, valid text equals, ooh. Okay, so let's check this out. So first thing we're going to do is just check to see if there's an alphabet. If it's an alphabet, valid text goes to false, and that will just mean that this loop would go over again. All right, elif. So if the number is not, or is, or doesn't make the alphabet true, so it's got to be an integer or a symbol. So that's what's going here. If the number is digit, oh, forgot the colon here, is false. So the is digit, so that means is false. So it's not a digit, or should this be an and? This should be an and. So we got a non-digit number that passed through. So that being basically, and a non-alphabet number here. And it's not a space and not a comma, then it's false. So let's go through this thing here, make sure this all works out. So we'll type in just some numbers here for our encryption. Just straight up numbers, works out fine, great. All right, we're gonna go through, type some numbers in. Just words, messes up. Numbers with words, messes up. All right, now we're gonna try some other things. Let's do numbers and some symbols here. Messes up. Okay, so that's good. So that means symbols aren't gonna work. What about a comma though? Ooh, comma, that should be true though, that should work out. And even like, what about space? All right, so still doesn't work out. So what's going on here? Like what when we get to this comma here? So does this comma, is that an alphabet? That would be, that'd be false. So we're not gonna, it's not gonna work there. Is a comma digit equal to false? Yes, and does that comma equal, oh no, does that comma, and so that would be, that part would be true, a comma, right, is a digit, false, that would be true. And does a comma not equal, oh, okay, does not equal, we want equal. So that would be true, and this part would be true. Okay, let's test this out here. Encryption key, plug in numbers, plug in number, plug in number, works out fine. All right, now let's try things that cause errors. Number, words, bad. Numbers with words, bad. Numbers with symbols. Ooh, that worked out. Okay, so let's try to take a second here and see how we can kind of work this around. We might have to change some things that the order goes in. All right, so I'm going to just kind of make a visual thing. I'm kind of need to annotate here. All right, so we have like numbers 1, 2, 3, and then we have like a comma, and we have a space, and then we have like other symbols, right? That is not like a star or an ampersand or, you know, whatever. We have symbols. So we want these to all be good to go through. We want to now catch, and the problem here is how do we figure out the symbols? So we have symbols here, but we only want the symbols that are not there. So let's talk about these symbols. These symbols are not digits, right? So if the number is digit is false, so that's what we want. And so these are our non-digits. Is digit equals false, and that number does not equal, right? It should be does not equal a space or does not equal a comma. So think about if we had a comma here, does a comma, or let's talk about like an ampersand, like the star here. The star digit, is it a digit? False. So this part would be true, and we'd have a false here and a false here. A false or a false would be false. So that would be, oh, that would be false. Oh, wait. No, that'd be true or true. Okay, so that would be a true. Or maybe we can just put another elif here. Oh, let's see. So this star, is a star a digit? False. So that would make this statement true. So it's true for the first part. So I'm going to have to I got to write this out here. For a star, it's true for a first part, and all right. And does that star not equal, that's true, or does that star not equal a comma? That's true. Okay, so the problem is this true or true becomes a true. That's true and true. So that would be the thing. So what about the comma? The comma is kind of causing an error. Is the comma, that's true, and so does this need to be an and statement here? Yeah, I think that's the problem. I think this and, because a comma does not equal false, or that would be false, which would that would still make that true because it's an or, so it needs to be an and. Okay, so let's run this here. Let's see, encryption key. I don't know what it's going to do. I'm going to have to do some logical tables here if it doesn't work. Does a number work? Great. Now we're going to check for errors. Number, letters, doesn't work. Numbers with letters, doesn't work. Numbers with symbols, doesn't work. Okay, now we got to check, does the comma work? Comma worked. Ooh, good. Now we need to check, does the space work? Number, space, number. That worked as well. Okay, so there we go. It took some time there. Had to do some truth tables to figure out what the problem was, and it's the placement of the ands or ors. So we got this figured out. Go ahead and submit this one. You can type in a message with numbers and commas and spaces, but that's it. All right, guys, have a great time. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Had to think logically here to dissect this down. Obviously, you guys for the last part next.